So Polly, are you going to tell me when to start?
Yeah, everyone's still popping up. So we've got 40, yeah, they're still coming online.
Can everyone hear you and me now, Polly?
Yeah, there's 50 people online, 47, and they're still popping up. So I just don't know if you want to wait a couple of minutes.
Oh, I think we'll get cracking. But can they hear you and me, or just me?
Yeah, they should be able to hear both of us.
Excellent. And you're muting all them, are you?
Yeah,
good.
We can make them live if they want to.
Okay. So should we get started, Polly? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So good evening to those of you who've joined us. My name is Tony Young. I'm a surgeon in the NHS, a consultant at Southend. I'm academic at Anglia Ruskin University, the chair and director of medical innovation there, an entrepreneur myself, having done 4 startups and exited those some years ago now, and but the national clinical lead for innovation for the health service in England. So welcome to this little webinar on the clinical entrepreneur program. You can see myself and hopefully Polly Sullivan. Hi, Polly.
I don't know if they can see me or not.
Oh, right, they can't see you.
They might be able to see me. I'm not sure. I can't see me, so maybe they can't.
And I can see you, so I've just waved at Polly anyway. If you come on the program, you'll get to know Polly very well. What we're going to do is just take you through some basics about the program. Some people have already asked some questions online, but there's a box in the bottom, either in the live chat or in the, I think it's an ask a question box.
Yeah, Q&A box.
Q&A box. And thank you, Polly. And so please flag that up. Now, I'm not going to be looking at those real time. And the reason for that is I can't double task, so I can't concentrate on talking to you and seeing things popping up. So Polly very kindly is going to look at those, and we'll come to a point at the end when we can deal with questions, and we may even to bring some of you in live to talk about things. We've managed that before. I've just made Polly's pulse rate go rapidly up, thinking I've got to manage all the IT to not just keep this show on the road, but now bring the entrepreneurs in. Okay, so let's get started. So I haven't looked at these slides yet. Oh, is that the first one, Polly?
Yeah, I put it at the front.
Oh, didn't you? So this is a little video from it's a really nice little video from one of our current Year 3 clinical entrepreneurs. So we'll just play that. It's really cool. So I completely didn't ask for that to be done, and that was done by Sally Shepherd, who's a pelvic floor physiotherapist from up north, Newcastle, I think, and she's joined the program as one of our allied healthcare practitioners, and is really progressing and has enjoyed it so much she made that video and sent it to me a few weeks ago. So there we are. So thanks for including that, Polly. So what is the Entrepreneur Program? So essentially, I've fought the system my whole life to try and be an entrepreneur in healthcare. I started my first company in my late 20s, and I've done 4 startups since then. I've raised about £5 million in private sector funds to drive them forward, and I was given no assistance by the National Health Service. In fact, the complete opposite of assistance, putting it diplomatically. We've always supported people who want to be teachers. We've supported people who want to train others. We've supported people who want to be leaders, supported people who want to be academics. But we've never supported people who wanted to be entrepreneurs right across our system. Yet in other countries, they do that all the time, particularly in the United States of America. And I spent some time traveling there in my academic role, observed what was going on in Silicon Valley and thought, we must be able to do some of that here. We've got the world's largest unified healthcare system. So about 4 years ago, I came back from a trip to the States and pitched to Sir Bruce Gere, who was our medical director at the time, that actually, what about if we empowered our workforce? What about if we tried to support them and teach them commercial skills, knowledge and experience? Maybe they could become entrepreneurs, but maybe they could become intrapreneurs too. So take that knowledge they've learned and apply it to trying to change healthcare. So it has become the world's largest workforce development program in healthcare. And the idea is that we've tried lots of things in the past to try and help make ideas happen. But actually, if you don't make it sustainable, whether it's a clinical pathway or you're a clinical lead within an NHS department, or whether it's a business, if it's not sustainable and turning over and making money and profitable, it's not going to survive, and therefore, we're not going to be able to deliver that for the benefit for patients. And medical schools don't teach you about entrepreneurship, or they didn't when I was there. There are one or two now that have started. And the first time I got to see, understand basic accounting with cash flow, profit and loss balance sheet, was when I came into trouble with my first company, and I realized, oh gosh, I need to do these things, and had to learn all about them that way. So we think that this brings the latest, greatest things aren't necessarily all coming out of academia or traditional routes. Some of them are coming out of startups. And we recognised that at NHS England and thought, well, why don't we? So this isn't a company support programme. I want to be clear about that. We are supporting the workforce in the National Health Service. So people who feel that if they develop commercial skills, knowledge and experience, that they can help transform people's lives, transform patient care. And actually, we should be celebrating our entrepreneurial talent rather than having them leave the workforce. We know that 5% of doctors permanently leave healthcare per year, and that at FY2, at the end of FY2, the last figures from last year were 56% of doctors are taking a break. So why aren't we making healthcare attractive enough? Why isn't training and medicine as attractive as it could be? So we wanted to do something about that. So 3 years ago, we launched this program. So I think I've probably covered most of what's on that slide. I didn't know what was coming in these slides. I'm really grateful to Polly for preparing them. So we've got, we have 1.4 million people employed. We are not the fifth largest employer on the planet, but we are the largest employer of professionally qualified people on the planet. Wow, imagine what would happen if we could empower our workforce to do things. And that was the idea behind the program, actually. So I'm trying to read and speak at the same time. And I think I've covered most of those points already. So let's move on. There we go. And we're in year 3, as I said, at the moment. We started with junior doctors in year 1. They were our sort of test case and sample. We needed to make sure that this did actually do what we hoped and thought it would do. In our next year, we brought on dentists and healthcare scientists too. And in our latest year, the current year running now, we've opened it up to all clinical professionals. And in fact, we had a manager apply from North London who was so desperate to get on the scheme. I said, oh, we'll sneak you in. And actually, we're planning to expand the programme in future years as we go forward to all people who work in the NHS. And my ambition from the word go has also been to include patients at some point. But I think at the moment, we've got really limited resources. We've got a very small and lean team that work really hard to deliver this programme. And we've delivered some amazing things on it. So I want to make sure we get it right when we start bringing members of the public in, people from outside our workforce. So far, I think we have 340 live people on the programme. We've had over 360 through the programme. I'm assuming, these are the whole range of things that we offer. Here we go. Wow, that's an impressive slide. You could tell I didn't make that one up. So we have a number of educational training days. We call them pit stops, because I think if you're an entrepreneur in the National Health Service, we should treat you like a Formula One car. You're going out doing laps at pace, trying to maintain your clinical career and be an entrepreneur and follow that passion. And then we bring you in for these pit stops to check under the bonnet to make sure you're okay, to top you up with fuel, that knowledge, that experience. We also have a whole load of networking events, and we have commercial mentoring. Have some amazing commercial mentors on our program, people who've made it in different aspects to completely different sectors. They could be working for a large technology company, a pharmaceutical company, another life sciences company. They could have created their own startup, some of them in healthcare, some of them in other sectors. We've got some people range from billionaires who've been advising us down to former chief execs of, so for example, Lord Stuart Rose from Marks and Spencer's is one of our mentors, down to some public sector figures who all give of their time freely to our program. And you get you get a mentoring session. I think we say, I've gone blank on that. I think it's 4 times a year we say. Is that right, Polly? You're gonna come off mute and educate me.
I'm off mute. So yeah, it's a minimum of 4 hours a year.
Thank you. 4 hours a year. That's right. So 4 1-hour sessions. It's been an incredibly long day. I started very early in London this morning, and so forgive me. I'm normally much brighter and more bouncy than this. I can remember the facts straight away like that. So a mentoring program with commercial mentors, educational sessions, networking events. We organise lots of those. And in addition to the individual days that the day and a halves we organise, it starts with an evening, which is a networking evening the night before. And we have founder stories where some of our entrepreneurs tell their stories. We normally get someone from the commercial world in to tell us about their journey, their experience, the lessons they've learned. And very often someone from the public sector to tell us something about their career journey and what they've learned. We do something called speed introductions, where the entrepreneurs introduce themselves to one another, but also some of the other people who are there. There'll often be mentors in the room. Sometimes investors come along. We have a number of secret investors who don't want to be named. It's really exciting when they come along. And some of them have founded companies that you would all know, tech companies that are valued at multiple billions. You probably all use their services many days. And so it's really great to have people like that just coming on, floating around, sharing stories, experience, and connecting you into the wider system. We not only, so coaching and mentoring, the networking and educational events, but we can provide internships as well. Very often people sort their own internships out in companies. Some people have gone to Google DeepMind, some have gone to consulting companies, some have gone to work abroad in Silicon Valley and do other things. And we work, if you're in training relevant to Health Education England, we can work with colleagues there to try and secure you less than full-time training. Now, I can't guarantee that we'll be able to achieve that, and you've got to be sensitive and quite flexible in your approach. We can't destabilize clinical rotas. But what we try and do is make the case to say this should be part of a sort of a smorgasbord of training opportunities for people. I should say it's not just for trainees. We've got some senior consultants. I think we've got some even people who are retired who are on the program. Any clinicians working in relation to the NHS can join, taking their idea forward. The other thing I should say is I get given no money. There's no salary. It's not a paid fellowship. It's not full-time. I can't cover your expenses if you travel to things either. Occasionally we can find some kind of support for selected events, but that's unusual. It can happen though. So it's the mentoring and coaching, the networking events, less than full-time training, internships, and then connections to customers and funding. We've got some really great contacts, and whether that's CCGs or trusts or other people within industry or other sectors. We're also really well connected to the funding industry and can connect you there, but also it's not just people who will fund you, it's people who will actually buy your product or service, and that can make a great thing, a great deal of difference. So I think I've covered most of those things, and we have it on the talks we give. It's not didactic, it's not spoon feeding. So if you're expecting a university type lecture series, I'm afraid you're going to be disappointed, and it's not going to be the program for you. This is very self-driven, self-motivated learning. We will put on some keynote lectures, there will be workshops, there will be clinics, The most powerful thing that we've learned from the first 3 years of clinicians who've been through the program is actually, when you're in the NHS and you're an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur, you stand out from the crowd. There's one or two of you in an organization at most very often, but when you join the clinical entrepreneur program, you become the crowd. Everyone around you. It's almost like Startups Anonymous. They sort of sit in a circle at our events, and one of them puts their hand up and says, hello, I'm a dentist and I've got a startup. And then a doctor will put their hand up and say, hello, I'm a junior doctor and I've got a startup. And then a nurse will say, I'm a nurse and I've got a startup. And it's amazing because people have held this this thing that they've loved, this thing that they've been passionate about, quiet on the inside because they felt they haven't been able to share it. And it's a forum where you can come to and you can express your dreams and try and live them and develop them. And what we have found on the entrepreneur program is something really interesting. Clinicians are really passionate and driven about making a difference to the individual person in front of them, making a difference to that one, but they're also passionate about trying to impact the lives of millions. And how can you do that? How can you impact the life of one and their family and their network around them, but also affect millions of people on the other hand? It's a paradox. Well, actually, if you are a clinical entrepreneur, you continue in clinical practice, impacting people's lives day in, day out, but actually you can do the bigger thing. You can make a difference to not just the population of our country, but some of our entrepreneurs have already gone global with some of their ideas and products. So you can do both things. You can impact individuals and make a difference and impact the wider population. So I think that's amazing. And that really came out of our entrepreneurs. So our educational pit stops, I'll lift that up for a moment. We cover a whole range of things. It's really a bite-sized boot camp. Now you can go on and do formal masters in entrepreneurship. You can do MBAs, you can do accelerators, you can do all sorts of things, and we welcome and encourage you to do what you think is right. This is sort of a taster program. The most important thing we do is give you a badge of permission to be an entrepreneur in the National Health Service. So you'll see a whole range of subjects that we cover in different days. And outside of the pit stops, we also organise days with industry. So recently we've been to Roche's headquarters in Welwyn Garden City in Hertfordshire, spent a day there with the senior leadership team at Roche, learning about one of the world's largest life science companies, how they operate, key things that they're doing. And also they gave us a masterclass on marketing. We had someone from the Henley Business School come over and help us with that. So you will learn a whole range of things. You'll learn how to pitch. We are really good at making, doctors are not very good at pitching. Crystallizing your idea down to the salient points to get across in 60 seconds. So we'll teach you that. And a whole range of other things too. Now, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. You can dip in and dip out of whatever bits you want to. We get you to sign a learning agreement with us. And that's a legal agreement really between NHS England, your mentor, and you. Because we need to make sure you're protected, your mentor is protected, and so is NHS England. And that commits you to trying, we allow for exceptional reasons, trying to attend at least 4 of our educational events a year and contribute to the programme. You will get as much out as you put in. I'm assuming we're going to have the metric slides. Here we are, some bits on mentoring. So there's a whole range of mentors. I've sort of hand selected them from my networks and interviewed nearly every one of them. We now have over 250, and we have some amazing mentors on the program. Now, it's not perfect, and our mentor matching scheme isn't perfect, and we very much expect you to drive this process. So we've got a whole list of mentors, and we can suggest some, but you may know a mentor yourself that you want to suggest. I'm very happy to meet them and check that it's right. We have had, as you would understand, some businesses just approach us who are looking to come and mine ideas and exploit a business opportunity for the program, and that's not appropriate in a mentoring capacity. So we've stopped that when we found it occurring. But actually, most of the mentors are people who've succeeded, whether it's in the public sector, in the commercial sector, in the charitable sector even. We have a number of commercial directors, chief executives from charitable organisations supporting us, even arts and entertainment, a whole range of experience and wealth of knowledge coming to help us try and transform healthcare. And the mentors, there's a whole list there of things which I won't cover, but the mentors are there to give you a whole range of different experience. Now, it may be the first mentor we introduce you to is not right for you. You need to meet them first and check, is there a resonance? Is there a chemistry? Do you think this can really work? Do they have the right skill set that will help you? And it may be that the first match doesn't work. that's fine. We have over 250 mentors, or as I've said, you may be able to want to suggest your own and find them. So sponsorship, we have a number of partners. They don't give NHS England money, but they contribute a whole range of in-kind things. Some of them are like the academic health science networks, some corporates you will see there, from small ones to global corporates like Roche and others. The Royal College of Anaesthetists has joined us. We're in discussion with a number of other Royal Colleges. So a whole range of people, venture capitalists and funders, commercial people, universities and other organisations. So, wow, this is a complex slide. It's the first time I'm coming fresh to these. They're really good slides, though. I have to congratulate you, Polly. So, I think looking at this, that these are the. I think this is. I'm not entirely sure what this slide is. What is it?
This is what the sponsors delivered for us last year.
Okay, brilliant. There we are. So there you go. Now I know. Gosh, it has been a long day. Yeah, I've done a business. It's not on this slide, but I do in-depth business planning days with some of the entrepreneurs, and I've had that today. And do you know, they've exhausted me. I think I've seen 6 or 7 of them. They get 45 minutes to an hour each, on top of the other meetings I had to do, and we do a deep dive into them and their business and what they want to do, and where they're really going. And they can be quite tough, quite emotionally and physically exhausting sessions, because we're really pushing testing and trialing. We try to be nice, but I'm very direct and straight and honest with people in their businesses and ideas, because we want you to succeed. We want to give you that honest, open feedback. You may do what you like with that feedback, but time and time again, we had another one today who'd been on the program since the 2nd year. And he said to me, when I first came on, I pitched an idea for electronic consenting, and you gave me some advice on that, and it was really difficult because I really didn't want to hear it. But I reflected on it. It took me 6 months, and I realised that what you'd said was right, and it wasn't going to go the way I'd hoped it would. And it completely pivoted into something completely different, which was remarkable, and I think will be very successful. So we'll watch this space for what he does. But I should have said, the appointment is on an annual basis. You can stay with us for multiple years on the programme. I hope many people will stay with us for their careers. You start off in year 1, and providing you've enjoyed it and got something, we'll continue to year 2. We'll probably repeat the programme, but there are differences and new events, and you haven't been able to make it to everything. Then in year 3, people can stay on if they can make a good case. But what we ask people to do is to become mentors themselves for us to grow the programme. And that means you can come along to all the events, but we won't be allocating you a mentor, and you can get all the other benefits of the programme. But as you'll understand, we want to focus on the year 1s and 2s who are coming through. But the network and the people that are involved and the experiences they've had really help us. So I'm really proud of this slide, and I'm proud of our entrepreneurs, because this is what you can achieve if you can unleash the talent of your workforce. It's a great privilege for me to have been given permission to do this. I love 13.7 million patients impacted in our first 2 years. This is the end of year 2 data. 113 startups, and we had 242 entrepreneurs in year 2. They raised £118 million. Wow, mostly private sector funding. But you know what that means? That is £118 million, largely from the private sector, that the NHS didn't have to put into innovation and trying to drive things forward. So that money could be allocated to patient care instead. So I'm really, really proud of that. And in fact, but the figure I'm most proud of all, that figure, 81 clinicians. So 81 junior doctors and other clinicians who had either left the health service, who were on the verge of quitting, stayed working in the National Health Service, making a difference to patients and delivering services as a result of the programme. Wow, so we've turned a brain drain of junior doctors and other clinicians into a brain gain, and I think we should feel really proud of that. Now, I should also say not all clinicians are going to stay. Some are going to go on the programme and decide they want to commit full time to their startup. We ask them to keep some kind of connection with the NHS, but you don't have to be working full time delivering core NHS clinical services to make a difference to patient care. I just do 3 days a fortnight frontline in the NHS now. I've moved into leadership, and I'm doing another number of other things, but still making a real difference to healthcare. And it's really important that we acknowledge that. So you might take a year or 2 out, you might take 3 years out. but we can make a difference through our enterprise and through delivering healthcare as well. But if you leave the NHS, or if you leave working in clinical practice, you lose that thing that gave you that edge, that gave you an understanding of the problems, of the networks, of the respect from your clinical colleagues. I still do on-calls as a consultant surgeon in Southend. Is it tough? Boy, it's really tough to manage all that. But, you know, I think it's really important, and I'll continue doing that for as long as I can, or until I collapse and drop down. Oh, that's all the slides. Brilliant. So now what I have to try and do, forgive me, I'll go back. I have to put my glasses on now to see what we're doing. So there we are, Polly. The screen has stopped as the shared window is closed.
There's some questions.
Okay. But everyone can see me, Polly, because I've closed it.
They can see you. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So, Southampton anaesthetist has asked.
If you're going to ask a question, please say your name. I'd rather.
Oh, he says, "Hi, Tony. Nick Haywood here. Southampton anaesthetist.
All right.
I might not have a startup company, but I'm doing some work as an innovation catalyst for commercial ventures here, doing some medtech consulting too. Could I please still join the program?"
100%. The long-term plan for the National Health Service has said we want to majorly expand the program, not just for entrepreneurs, but intrapreneurs. So if you're a clinician working in or with the National Health Service, or just someone who works in the National Health Service and want to develop commercial skills, knowledge and experience, gain those networks, then you can apply to the program. You don't have to have a startup. It can be a benefit to you if you have to have some kind of idea, some kind of thing that you want to do, something you will benefit from. You can't, if you were to say, and it's a competitive process, I should say, I think we had over 400 applications last year. I might not have that entirely right, and I think there's going to be even more this year. I forget the rate from initial expressions of interest to final appointments, but I think there were about 100 and... Hey, Polly, your cat.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't know if you can see
It's
this.
hungry.
All right. So Polly is famous in our webinars for her cats disturbing us at some point in the evening and walking across the screen normally. So I can see Polly and her cats interfering, but I'm not sure if you can. It makes me smile every time. It shows you how real this is. So where were we? So yes, you can, but try and make the case of why you should join, why you will benefit from this, how you're going to, if you focus on patient care and say, I want to learn this experience because I want to help change patient care, then you're going to have a really good shot. Not everyone can get on. We've had someone apply all 3 years for the first 3 years and hasn't got on. And I bet they're going to apply again. And they admit, they look back at their applications and they say, you know, it wasn't a great application. I was very young in my ideas and thoughts. So having a twinkle in your eye and saying, I want to be an entrepreneur, that's not going to work. And, you know, we've had some people who've actually come onto the program and they've got quite scared and they've gone, this is not what I thought it was at all. Actually, being an entrepreneur is really tough and it's not for me. And they've stepped away, and that's fine too. It's fine to change your idea. You don't have to bring on the program the idea you originally pitched. So by all means apply, make your case as strong as you possibly can. You'll see on the application forms when it goes live and the guidance, the sorts of things you can do. My honest advice for that is be yourself, be honest, be open, be truthful, be genuine, and you stand your best shot. Okay, Polly, what's next?
Okay, I'm a consultant obstetrician. I have done a project where I found that the application of human factors has helped improve the handovers significantly. I feel that human factors expertise is underutilised in healthcare. This has been highlighted in the latest CQC report, Opening the Door to Change. I'm embarking on a human factors qualification in my own time. How can the clinical entrepreneurship program help me?
Well, it may not be able to help you. I would put it the other way around. I'd say, what can you do to help the clinical entrepreneur program? What can you do to contribute to our community? I've outlined that you will learn a range of skills, knowledge, and gain experience. You will gain networks of like-minded innovators. One of the things, we've had some people who were on the National Innovation Accelerator at NHS England, run by our partners, UCL Partners Academic Health Science Network. And And they've been on that, and it's been a fantastic experience for them. But as clinicians, then they're teamed up very often with a number of other companies who are already well formed on their program, and they come on the entrepreneur program and they say, it feels like I've come home. There is such a group of clinicians from the NHS, all who want to change, all who want to make a difference. And so you will learn a lot of things, you will gain amazing networks. I think it will help anyone develop as a clinical leader, but it's a voluntary thing. If you come along and you find it's not for you, that's fine. It doesn't cost you anything to apply to the program. There are no fees for joining it. If you work in the NHS, this is a resource that NHS England and our partners and sponsors are placing on for the benefit of staff in the National Health Service. And if you start it and feel it's not right for you, go through the application process and say, do you know, I think this isn't going to be right. That's fine too. There's no problem with that at all. My experience is well over 99% of people who've joined say it's the best thing they ever did, and it's just changed the way they think about themselves, their career, how they lead, a whole range of other things too. Try it. You've got nothing to lose in my view. What's next, Polly?
So, is there anything available for medical students?
Yes, medical students can join. We already have some on the programme. We've got some from Oxford and some from London and a couple of other places as well. Absolutely, medical students can apply, yeah, we welcome applications from them.
I'm working as an orthopaedic registrar. I have ideas with regards to new biomedical devices, medical apps, which I believe will help with patient care. Please, could you advise how I proceed with this?
So you'll learn that on the programme. You will understand that we have so many entrepreneurs on the programme. I do mentor some of them and really help supercharge some of their ideas, but it's not possible for one person to do with all of them, which is why we have such an amazing array of mentors. We do sessions where you can come along and talk to us. But we've had and do an in-depth dive. We've had a number of orthopaedic surgeons. We've got a consultant applying this year. I haven't got an orthopaedic consultant at the moment. We've got plenty of registrars and junior doctors, though, many who've done implants, from maxillofacial implants to, what was that one about? Oh, yeah, bone fracture healing. It wasn't an implant. It was someone had come up with a novel molecular biology type solution for really rapidly processing fracture healing. It was an injection you injected to the fracture, and I think it unites in days. Unbelievable. But they got an Innovate UK grant. Quite stunning. So yes, you're welcome to join us. We have experts and talks from the MHRA and from others. We actually, one of our orthopaedic registrars, it reminds me, Polly, who was at the MHRA this year, has offered to come and give a talk on some people go into businesses and some people go into government organisations, and he went to work for the MHRA for a year to understand the process of getting new implants and things as he had one himself, and he's offered to come and give a talk to us. So Polly, if we make a note of that, we'll get the interview, and we'll invite him along to give a talk this year and next year too. What's next, Polly?
I have an idea that I've thought about, and I'm rationalising and organising it into something tangible. What kind of feedback will we get on our ideas?
So from the application process, you'll have a panel. The panel consists of a commercial person, an NHS person, and normally from the wider NHS in some way, and a clinician. So you'll get 3 different views and feedback on the day. Sometimes we get venture capitalists sitting on the panel, sometimes people who've run companies and startups, sometimes people who've been chief commercial officers, chief digital officers in organisations, might be a chief executive of an NHS trust or the chair of a clinical commissioning group, might be a frontline clinician. I try and interview every single day. We normally have 3 or 4 panels running some days, so I can't interview everyone, but I try and interview at least a quarter to a third of candidates coming through. And I try and meet you all before you go in for interview as well, just to settle you down and just try and explain the process that you're about to go through. What's next, Polly?
As a founder of a business offering assistance to staff within the NHS to save each trust around £5 million per annum and give ownership to the NHS staff to deliver their own assistance, we find it hard to offer these services due to barriers. This does not cost the trust any money, but delivers greater patient care. Can we help in this program to add value?
So that's not a relevant question for this evening's webinar, Polly. That's business.
I didn't realise. I thought it said, can the program help to add value to that?
Oh, I see.
I
thought you said, can they add value to the program? So I was going to go, that's a really sneaky pitch from someone being entrepreneurial, and I'm going to bat that one back. Yes, the program can have massive value. We will, you as clinicians, it's fine for you to have a company as far as I'm concerned, and be a clinician in the National Health Service. We will, make introductions for you, help equip you with skills, knowledge and experience that you won't have gained on how you successfully can work, can exploit your idea within the NHS. It's not easy, it's not straightforward, it's not presented on a plate. Will you be tearing your hair out, bashing your head against the wall, saying, I wish I'd never started this sometimes? Yes. And I won't be getting the violins out, because I've taken 4 companies forward in the medtech startup space, and I've fought every step of the way. But win hearts and minds and learn about the system, learn how you can, if you can help improve cost efficiency, improve patient care and patient safety, free up staff time, help develop the workforce. This idea, I don't know what it is yet, it sounds really great, but you have to bear in mind, everyone who comes to pitch me says they've got an idea that's going to save multiple millions for the National Health Service, and proving that can be another thing. So, but no, in principle, sounds like a great idea and you'd be welcome to apply. But in this process, on this webinar, I'm not looking for people to offer their business services to the program. We can do that through other formats though. Right, Polly, what's next?
Do you need to be in training if you are a junior doctor to apply?
No, you don't have to have a national training number. We've got plenty of people who are non-career grade doctors who've applied and who are not in training in any other part of clinical practice in healthcare. And in fact, you can be a manager, and they're not in full-time training.
So, hi Tony, Peter here, a physiotherapist in London. I work part-time with a startup and part-time in private practice, but don't currently work for the NHS. Could I still apply, or is it strictly for NHS employees?
It's for people who work in the National Health Service. So if you just work in the private sector, the answer to that is no. And I appreciate that's restrictive at the moment, but this is funded by NHS England and our partners for the National Health Service. If you undertake any activity in the NHS, treating NHS patients, or if you locum in the National Health Service, even just occasionally, that will count. Or if you say, I'm planning to come back and work in the NHS, then that's fantastic, because we're creating clinicians coming back to work in the system. Even if it's just an occasional locum, that will allow you to apply. Now, we are hoping to open the program up next year or in future years to look at how we can bring other people in who don't work in the National Health Service, but they will have to be funded. It'll either be funded through sponsorship or they will pay their own way. It might be their company that does it, because we actually need to broaden the breadth of talent and experience that's on the program, and that will probably be through an educational offering, and we're just looking to that now, because we do get a lot of requests, like you said. And I don't think we should restrict it, because not all the latest, greatest ideas are going to come straight out of the NHS, but some of them will come out of the private sector. I completely accept that, and I think we'd be cutting our noses off to spite our face, as the expression goes, if we were to exclude anything. But as you will understand, at this stage, this is funded by the National Health Service centrally and our partners, and it's our duty to spend taxpayers' money responsibly and efficiently, and those are the rules which are laid down for me. Okay, Polly, what's next?
Okay, what is the basis of selection? How can we write our applications better? Other than just benefiting from this, how can we contribute to the programme?
Okay, brilliant. So applications there's some guidance that comes on them, and read it. We try to make it as straightforward as possible. Be yourself. Make sure you fill it all in completely. Make sure you submit it on time. Don't leave anything empty, because you'll just be disqualified. And we have a sifting process, and incomplete forms are sifted out, I'm afraid. Be genuine, be yourself. There's guidelines in there. If you've got a startup, great, you don't have to. If you've got a really great idea, that's really helpful, or something you want to do or learn or change, You don't have to. We have had people who come on the program who just say, this is an amazing chance for me to develop and learn in this space, and I'm passionate about it because of the following reasons, and they've got on. People can just have an idea sometimes. And how can you help the program? Well, we're building a community, we're building a movement, we're building a group of people who not only want to change things, but they want to take ownership of the change and making that happen in the health service. And the thing that keeps me going and getting up and doing the long hours that I do, look at it, Valentine's night at 8:15, Polly, and you and I are on a webinar, I don't know, is that I feel when I was training, sadly, 20 plus years ago now, when I was a junior doctor, things were different. There was a firm structure, there was a team structure. I felt really supported, and consultants would really take time to support their trainees and juniors. And I feel so many reorganisations have gone that we've lost that kind of connection that we had, that sense of community. And I really benefited from some really fantastic consultants who really went above and beyond their duty in helping support and encourage the next generation of doctors coming through. And it is one of my very greatest privileges to be put in a position where I can do that now and do it at scale for a much larger group of clinicians, not just doctors, for everyone in the health service. So I hope that answers that. What's next, Polly?
Emma's also online, so she's spending her Valentine's night listening in as well.
Emma Hutchinson from NHS England. I hope you're having a great Valentine's. I'm amazed my kids haven't bounced in through the door, to be honest. I told them to stay out, but that cuts nothing in my house.
How do you match mentors to mentees?
Okay, so I've been trying to generate a kind of matching process. You know, there are all these matching things for all sorts of things on the internet that are available, matching you to people, to services, to all sorts of things. But we've tried a few things and nothing's really worked. So what we do is we ask you at the interviews, what are the ideal features you would like from a mentor, if you were to be appointed to the program, or what key needs do you think you have? And then we try and find some mentors, and we try and suggest 2 or 3 that might be suitable for you. We're developing a directory so you can see the mentors and see their skill sets, and you can then see if there's someone else you think that might be suitable for you. But we don't force a match. You meet someone, you get to have a chat, cup of coffee, see if you think they can help you. They think the same is true the other way. And but as I've said, some people have introduced their own mentors, and we've had some fantastic mentor introductions from others, some really inspiring people who want to contribute and give back to the system. What's next, Polly?
Okay. Do you need to have a product to market or promote to benefit from the fellowship?
No.
Or if you just want to gain skills to build partnerships and work cross-sector with industry and regulators?
Correct. So you don't have to have a startup, you don't have to have a product or a service. You may develop one on the program. Some people haven't. Some people are entrepreneurs, as I have said. As long as patients are at the heart of what you do, and you're aligned with the values of the National Health Service, then you've got every shot at the program.
What if you are based in Scotland?
What a great question. Do you know, we've had someone from Northern Ireland ask. We've got one person on the program that I'm going to get into such trouble what I'm about to say. I snuck someone on from Wales who applied. I said, well, that's the National Health Service. I know they haven't started it in your country yet. I'm hoping they will. I would encourage you to apply, and if you get any trouble, let me know via Polly, and we'll see what we can do. I'm really keen to break the boundaries and break the barriers, and hopefully if we get some Scottish entrepreneurs applying, it will give more opportunity for me to discuss that with the Scottish Government, and I'm sure they want to support it, but I think you've got to build a groundswell of things, and I haven't yet met my equivalent in Scotland, and you really need a national clinical leader to drive this. But I know Catherine Calderwood, the Chief Medical Officer up there, quite well. She was a National Clinical Director at NHS England for a while. And so actually, if you test us and say, I'm working in the Scottish NHS that have applied, maybe that will be the thing that provokes me into talking to Catherine Calderwood and saying, how can we support people who want to be entrepreneurs who are based in Scotland as well? I'd love to come and hold one of our educational days up in Scotland, or So that reminds me, I am speaking at the BAUS annual conference. If you look at it, BAUS, British Association of Urology Surgeons in Glasgow, end of June, about 24th, 25th, can't remember it. I'll have some of the entrepreneurs pitching on stage with me then. If you're an entrepreneur and you're based in Scotland, I might be able to get you in as a guest past if you wanted to meet, although we may meet at the interviews, which may have happened before that date as well. Good. What's next, Polly?
I absolutely love everything this program is about. In fact, as an F2, I started CPR in schools. Is it okay to apply to the program to get advice for it and develop a small existing project?
Yes, it is. So I can't, you didn't say the name of that person, but I know who that is.
Oh, you know, it's Marina. Her name's Marina.
Yeah, Marina. So Marina and I are due to meet, and unfortunately it's been cancelled on a number of occasions. And I absolutely love, Marina, what you've been doing. When Colin Melville first told me about it, I was just gobsmacked. I'm really passionate about what you're doing and how you're taking that forward. And we've got some entrepreneurs with some really interesting ideas around that as well. You'd be welcome to apply, and I think you'd stand an excellent chance on the program. You would learn some things that would really help you transform what you're doing and get it taken up nationally. To give you an example of that, we've got a wonderful, wonderful young entrepreneur called Rosie Riley on the program this year, who came in with an educational training platform about identifying the signs of modern slavery. Apparently there are 30,000 modern slaves in the United Kingdom at the moment, which I personally found shocking. It's not a business, it's not a startup, it's an educational program as part of a safeguarding package. And do you know, we don't have that in the NHS at the moment. I was shocked when I found that out. Of course, I've never had any training in that, but might I have come across someone? Well, if there are 30,000 people in and they come into contact with GPs or healthcare people, they might do, and we should have it as training, I think. I've introduced her to Health Education England and some other colleagues, and now they're doing a trial in a whole region in England in getting that introduced. We're going to test and see how it goes as part of safeguarding training. Why shouldn't we do that for CPR? I think everyone in our country should be able to do CPR. We will save lives, transform families. Wonderful. Yep, fully support you applying.
Hi, it's Evie, GP trainee. What does the application process involve?
You'll see that online, Evie, and I really hope we get lots of GPs applying. I really want to, I want to encourage everyone, to be honest, but, and I'm not limited on numbers. I'm not fixed. It's what I'm limited to is on quality. So if there are loads of high quality people, I will have a nice problem of going to my chief executive and my exec director on the board and saying, I've got so many people who've applied, you're going to have to give me some more funding. It's in the long-term plan. The application process is a form that you go through. The thing that you will find a little bit uncomfortable, and everyone does, and it's deliberate, but I want you to embrace any fears or anxieties you might have about it. We ask you to do a 1-minute video pitch for this. You could pitch you could pitch your idea, you may pitch what you like. We keep the rules around it really loose because we want something about you to come across in the video. Now, I can't read every single application form because we get many hundreds, but I do watch every single video that comes through because I want to get to know all about you as entrepreneurs. So some people find that one, and I just say record it on your smartphone, do a little selfie video. Some people have gone to enormous trouble to prepare something, and they look great, but some of the most humbling ones are just the click on, click off, recorded on your mobile phone. Truly humbling, some of the videos we've had. And then there's some written applications telling us about you, your ideas, why you want to join the program. It's all made available. Just be yourself. You'll be fine. Okay, Polly.
Hi there, Gabby Cox here. Thanks so much for your excellent talk. For those lucky enough to gain a place and be successful creating their startup, how does the IP get worked out?
Okay, so NHS England, great question. NHS England do not take any ownership over the IP. We sign a legal document and you sign it too. So it's called a mentor-mentee agreement, and there are 3 legal parties to this document: NHS England, the mentor and the mentee, and it is to provide protection for everyone. It prevents you from suing your mentor to say they gave me bad advice and my startup has failed. It prevents the mentor suing you for whatever it is, and it prevents anyone taking action against anyone. We all agree to act and behave in a normal way, and as part of that agreement, it acknowledges that any intellectual property that arises belongs to the mentee, so the individual going through the mentoring process. Now, that doesn't mean you necessarily own the IP you bring on the program. The agreement you have arranged with your local employer or other things, or whatever your local intellectual property policy is, will stand. And that's the struggle. I am working on a national intellectual property policy at the moment with colleagues in the Treasury and at NHS Improvement and the Cabinet Office. We're looking at how we might really get some clarity on that. I'm hoping by September we may move forward. We might see something coming out with the Chancellor's statement in April. We'll have to see. But we are working actively on that at the moment. But in the terms of our agreement, NHS England don't take any rights on IP.
Okay, next one. Hello, I'm a 4th year medical student. I've been working on a startup idea with 3 of my peers. Would we apply as a team or individually?
Individually, this is about the person. This is about you developing yourself in your career, learning and growing. We've had whole teams apply. We've had whole startups. We've had 6 people from one startup get on the program. I think that was Forward. I think all this Forward team applied. If you haven't seen the Forward app, have a look at it. Great. Or WhatsApp messaging for medics. Really good. Really like what they've been doing and support them on our program. And their whole team applied and got on. And wow, what a different group of people they are. So no, absolutely applies individuals, but you can all get on. Just because you're sharing the same idea, that does not matter.
How can we form a team of clinicians and tech guys?
Really good question. So, and that is an issue we have on the program at the moment. We try, we've got lots of clinicians, but we do need other skills. You're absolutely right, who's ever asked that question. So we try and host other networking events through the year. In London, I host with John Spindler, the Chief Executive of Capital Enterprise, some joint networking events where lots of tech people from Tech City and other places come along. But it's through the connections, it's through the networking, it's through coming along to the whole ecosystem and events. There are lots of meetup events, lots of other kind of events that are going on and getting those. And once you get immersed in this world, people start to meet people. There are other accelerators like Entrepreneur First, where tech people and health people and others come together. So there are all sorts of opportunities. It's not easy or straightforward, and finding a good co-founder is a really important thing to do. Okay, Polly, what's next?
Is there an interview process to get on the program?
Yes, there is. And if you're shortlisted, you'll apply on the program. And if you're shortlisted, you will come through to interview. The interview is roughly about half an hour long, 3 main sections, a clinical section, an NHS section, and a commercial section where we cover different aspects of you and different aspects of your idea. What's next?
Do we have to have a direct idea which will improve patient care, or could it be something which will improve staff well-being?
Yes, yes, as long as it's something relevant to the NHS. We've had people come up with building management systems for the National Health Service, staff rostering, all sorts of different things. So it can be direct for patient care, it can be something related to the healthcare process. If you want to open a florist shop or a baker's, I'm going to struggle with that, although I'm trying to think of a health and well-being kind of angle on it. It might be possible, I suppose, but generally it's going to be in the healthcare and life sciences space and some benefit to health. Okay, Polly?
You've answered this one about spaces on the programme, so there isn't. I'm a physio and have already set up a company. We have produced a software programme which is currently being tested in a CCG. But I'm not working in the NHS. Would I still be able to join the programme?
If you're not working in the NHS, the answer is no. You have to have, even if you say, I'm going to, as I've said earlier, come back and locum and work part-time. This is a workforce development programme for the National Health Service. I'm looking to try and change that, as I've said, and open it up wider than that. But we are a really small team. It's me, Polly, there's Emma at NHS England and Alex at NHS England. We get a little bit of support from other people and some support from our partners. But so we've not been able to open it up more widely than at the moment, but we are planning to. But as you would understand, and it's entirely reasonable, I'd hope you would agree, that the NHS should be supporting its own workforce development, and the private sector should offer something similar. They've got the cash, let them do it. Okay.
Next one. Hi, I'm Samir Shah, a dementia services consultant. I, along with a friend, have an augmented reality-based indoor navigation assistant that is being tested in local nursing homes. It isn't something we felt we could be doing a year ago. However, we'd love to grow it and turn it into something bigger. Would the programme help us with the practicalities of scale?
100%. That's exactly what it's for, is to take frontline clinicians who've come up with problems and recognise them. I can't guarantee we'll make it work for you. It's not our job to make it work. What we're doing is giving you some knowledge, some experience, some skills that you didn't have before, which give you a much better chance of succeeding in your aspirations. Sounds like a really exciting idea to me. We've got lots of people doing augmented reality type things. Some of them looking at CPR, some of them looking at surgery, some of them looking at education training, a whole range of things. So it sounds great.
Okay. I am an ophthalmology trainee working on clinical validation models for AI-assisted diagnosis.
Yeah.
I want to help tech partners demonstrate that AI models can improve patient care through clinical trials in the NHS. Sorry, shall I go? I want to help tech partners demonstrate their AI models can improve patient care through clinical trials in the NHS. Is the programme suitable for me?
Yep, as long as you work in the NHS, sounds good.
Do questions about the references, do the referees need to be clinical or non-clinical or either?
So you choose. We leave it nice and open for you to choose referees that can best represent you. They could come from the commercial world, charitable world, NHS, it doesn't matter. Someone who can talk about you as an entrepreneur is the main thing.
Marina's asked again, do you give advice on direction, ideas and funding?
Yes, lots of it.
And is it okay to apply if she's in academic training?
Yes, 100%. I would say apply. If you're not sure, just apply. We'll work it out.
Is the programme based purely in London?
No, it's all over the place. We're holding a pit stop in Manchester. I'm looking to, we've hosted it in Leeds before, we've hosted it in Liverpool, our educational days, but they're only evenings and then a following day. About half of them are done at weekends and we do about half of them in the week time. So we get a mix of speakers and others coming along. And we do try and hold it in different parts of the country. And as the programme grows, I think that will really increase. We're holding it in Nottingham later in the year as well. We went to Medicity and saw their facilities there. So I'm looking forward to going up there and working with the medical students at Nottingham University who are keen to get involved with us as well. So we're trying to be more national, but London's a really easy place for everyone to get to. Generally speaking, and many of our speakers are based there, but we are going all over the country.
Will there be a non-disclosure agreement to protect the ideas?
Nope. I don't want you to tell me anything that is commercially in confidence. If you've got something that's patentable, I suggest you patent it. NHS England do not generally sign non-disclosure agreements. We can do if strictly necessary, but I don't want. This is not about your idea. This isn't about the magic bit that makes it work, the patentable essence of it. We will treat your application in confidence, but we cannot, as you can imagine, we'd be signing NDAs all over the place and it wouldn't be possible. So I ask you not to disclose commercially confidential information in your application form. We do respect the confidence of you in writing that application, but we're not going to sign non-disclosure agreements because I don't need to know that kind of things. I don't need to, you can just say to me, I've got this great thing and it's going to make people with strokes have a much larger recovery and it's this little box. And I'm going to go, that's fantastic. I don't need to know what's in the box. Now let's talk about how you're going to market that and exploit it and take it forward and get it taken up in the NHS. So we don't want to know we get asked that a lot. We don't want to know the confidential information. Please don't tell us. That's for you to protect. We'll give you advice and guidance on how you protect it and take it forward. And everyone's very sensitive and think, oh, someone's going to steal my idea and do that. Very rarely do I say, I have seen it. And I've seen some bad examples of it, but it's very, very rare. So I would always proceed with caution, but you don't need to reveal or disclose anything that's confidential or commercial in confidence as part of the application process.
How well developed do our ideas have to be for the application, and can we mention multiple ideas on the application?
Yes, I had someone pitch about 15 ideas in one of the interviews. He got on the programme. He was all over the place. He had an idea coming out of every system and part of the body, and he's a stunning little innovator down in the southwest actually. So as developed as you want them to be, it's going to be quite uncomfortable because we don't fix a rigid process for you. We leave quite a lot of freedom. And do you know, one of the things I disliked most about medical school was, and still dislike about it, and let's see if I can influence it and change it, is we encourage you to become the most rounded person who's done so many extracurricular activities to get into med, on top of all the academic things. And then you get into, whether it's medical nursing school or pharmacy or whatever it is, you get in there, and then we force you down this narrow educational path where we chop off all those unique things that make you individual. And you come out of the end of the education process as a clone, an FY1 if you're a doctor, this sort of pluripotential style, because that makes you safe form offering. I don't think that serves people well at all. So I'm not a big fan. Anyway, what's next, Polly?
Can overseas doctors on Tier 2 visas working in the NHS join?
Yes.
I am a consultant gastroenterologist. These long words are,
that's right,
sorry, and have an idea and have recently commenced a startup. I want to be an entrepreneur along with being a clinician, and wanted to check if the clinical entrepreneurship program can help me.
Yes, we can in spades. We'd love to have you apply to the program. We have a number of consultants, orthopedic. Oh, we do have a consultant orthopedic surgeon, of course. We've got Jim from Luton. And we've got orthopedic consultants, we've got urologists, we've got public health consultants, we've got some consultant physicians. So yes, you will be more than welcome, and it will open your eyes when you see what's on offer on the program and you meet the other people. And we're finding this is just catalyzing and accelerating people's ideas. Some of them, stop them and they pivot away from what they were doing, and others of them really. I mean, they've raised £118 million in 2 years. There must be something they're doing. Okay, Polly, what's next?
Okay, sorry, just let me find the next one. They're coming in two different directions. I want to build a digital product for young people that has to interface with GP practices and trust systems, but am a nurse and not a programmer. How do we actually get access to such people, or is it part of writing the business plan? But I have no idea how to cost it.
Oh,
is that the type of help we get?
You get a whole range of different help on the program, and you'd really be welcome to apply. It sounds, you're a frontline clinician who's identified a problem and wants to do something about it. We really have got a lot to offer someone like you. So we have a group that work with us from NHS Digital called Code for Health, run by someone called Peter Coates, and they have a whole load of programmers and people who can help support you. So you don't necessarily have to have all the skills yourself to be able to do them. I couldn't write a line of code even if I practiced for weeks, I suspect. It's just not in my makeup of who I am. So it's not easy, it's not straightforward, but there are plenty of people around who can help with that kind of thing.
Okay. I'm a pharmacist and am already working with the commercial arm of my trust to create a medication information app for patients. Can I still apply?
Yes, of course, 100%.
Do the effects of the ideas have to be just for the NHS in the UK, or can it also be for other countries?
We encourage international, global from the word go. If you're just going to base your business in the NHS, my view is it won't succeed. You have to look at we're 2% of the world's healthcare system spend. So you really need to look globally with your ideas and ambitions. And we've got to look at ourselves as a country, actually. We need to build businesses that export our ideas, export our products and our services, and try and change healthcare across the planet. Absolutely, I encourage you to do that.
Can other startup team members, if not NHS employees, attend events run by the programme?
So the answer to that is I'm very flexible about that. And in principle, yes, but this is still an NHS England support programme for NHS employees. But we do allow guests and visitors to come along to certain events, but it depends on numbers. If we're going to be really packed out, we'll have to be a bit more restrictive and prioritise NHS people. But in principle, the answer to that is yes.
I have an NTN, but I'm currently on an OOPR doing my PhD. Can I?
Hey, can we get any more acronyms into that one? Yes,
so Yeah, can I apply?
Yes.
So she's.
Let's move. Oh, I needed an acronym for that, didn't I? Sorry. The national training level on out of program experience doing a PhD. Yes, of course, you'd be absolutely welcome to apply.
I'm going to start ST3 emergency training. I'm willing to learn the commercial and leadership aspect of NHS. My aim is to develop better understanding and going into a leadership role and making a difference. Is this program going to help me?
This for intrapreneurs as well as entrepreneurs. It will teach you commercial skills, knowledge and experience and a lot about yourself. But we have an NHS Leadership Academy and a whole range of other support that goes on, which you may want. I see no harm in applying. Whether it's for you, it depends. Have a look at the programme, have a look at what the resources we put online about it. You'll get a feeling about it. Come to the interview. If you come to the interview and you think it's not for you, that's fine. You don't have to proceed. No harm in applying, in my view.
Marina said thank you. I'm a mental health nurse who has worked in A&E before and seen some gaps anecdotally. I would absolutely relish the opportunity to develop my ideas, but I've recently left the NHS. Can I still apply with what I've said?
So, can I twist your arm to come back? That would be amazing. You'd help our figures of the brain game we want to create. Even if you come back part-time as a locum, even if you stay on the application form, I've left the NHS to take a break, but I'm planning to come back in. We will interview you and take that forward. So, but if you say, no, I've quit, I'm off to the private sector. We had someone apply last year who said, I see this as a great opportunity to allow me to leave the NHS and go and work in the private sector. And I didn't even interview them. What a silly thing to put on your form. This is about our National Health Service and improving the lot of patients and equipping our staff with skills, knowledge and experience. Now, you may come on the programme and leave the NHS at a later point. That's fine. But you come with the intention of staying is the idea.
So the next one is, I have an idea about developing a product for clinical application with use of artificial intelligence. I'm a respiratory physician without any technical knowledge. Will I get necessary assistance if selected in the programme?
You'll get the same assistance that everyone else gets. There's no spoon feeding. No one's going to take your idea off you and run with it. Do we have experts in AI and who come and talk to us on the programme? Yes. Do we have lots of great relationships with the Alan Turing Institute? Some of our entrepreneurs have gone on their programs. Do we have people with PhDs in machine learning? Are we well connected with computer science departments in different universities? Yes, but it's your job. We are someone who can open doors, who can connect you. There's no spoon feeding. It's not my duty to find you your AI expert. We will have an environment that will make it much more likely for you to get the skills that you need.
I am a single mum who has just gone back to GP training full-time with a special interest. How many hours per week commitment would you recommend to be successful in this programme? If I were to get on.
So the programme is an evening and then a whole day the following day, and there are 8 of those per year. So that's not a great commitment. You can come hopefully to at least half of those. But how much you commit to your entrepreneurial idea or your intrapreneurial idea is entirely up to you. Some people have succeeded and achieved amazing things. Others, through a variety of commitments that have happened to them in the year, haven't been able to progress things. But that's fine. And we always interview you at the end of the year and speak to you and find out what's gone on and what you want to do and do you want to continue. And some people have said they want to continue with no effort. And we've parted company, which is fine because their lives have moved on, and I think that's right. But we need to keep places available for people who are really benefiting. But in principle, you get as much out as you put in.
So the next one is, as a plastic and reconstructive surgeon, would the programme be suitable for me to be involved as a clinician identifying pathways to accelerate new innovations?
Yes, 100%. So BAPRAS, the British Association of Plastic and Aesthetic Surgeons, their innovation group run by Ryan Kirstein, who's an SBR in Oxford, was in year 1 on the programme. He was working at Boston Consulting Group at the time and then came back to work in the NHS full time. We twisted his arm and persuaded him. I think consulting wasn't for him, but he tested and tried it and it worked for him for a period. Absolutely, we've got quite a few plastic surgeons that have been on the programme, some consultants, some registrars. Nadine from the Royal Free, who founded Proximy, is one of our absolute superstars on the programme. So yes, you'd be welcome.
I think this might be the last question. Oh, there's a new one. Oh, it's not the last one. Do we need to have a broad concept of funding our ideas?
Do they need to have one already?
Yeah, do we need to have a broad concept?
You can do. We'll teach you a lot about funding. We do a whole educational day on funding, and you'll learn loads from other people. The great thing is, I don't have to teach you everything because there are so many people on the program who've got not founded a startup, just founded it, raised a seed series, pre-seed series, a seed series, a series A, a series B, raising from 10 or 20,000 pounds up to 60 million pounds. So all the experience is there. The relationships, the networks are there for you to go and learn. And you wouldn't meet these people. This is the largest concentration of entrepreneurial talent in healthcare anywhere on the planet, all brought together in one place. It's there for you to go and mine it and see what you can do with it. It's not for me to tell you what to do. I couldn't tell you what to do. I haven't got a clue. Well, that's probably not fair. Right, what's next, Polly?
We've answered this. Is it possible to apply as a team of two
we've answered that already. Individuals, please. Yep.
Yeah, that's it. Are there any more questions? I'll write this one more. Yeah. West Midlands trainee, thank you for the talk tonight. Does the programme allow study days, days of leave from routine clinical work beyond the usual allotted leave for entrepreneurial recruits?
To that, so if your local hospital will allow you to take a day's leave for that as part of study leave, that's fine. Many have refused. Health Education England are very supportive of the programme, and one of the recommendations in the Topol review that they've just published is to expand and grow the entrepreneur programme. And what we're trying to do this year is introduce a formal qualification so you can do a postgraduate certificate in healthcare or clinical entrepreneurship. And when that happens, I think everyone will be allowed to apply for formal study leave for the programme if they're in healthcare. But until that date, just be entrepreneurial. If you're really going to get something amazing out of this program, which is going to help change you, change your career, change your life, create an amazing legacy, an amazing innovation, then there should be nothing that can keep you away. But if you feel that you need study leave or you won't take part, then it's probably not the program for you, in honesty.
I am concerned that my idea is not yet refined. Is that a problem?
No, but to spend some time working on your ideas, think about them. It's the individual we're looking at, but we do ask you to, in the application process, to pitch us an idea, to tell us something about you or what's going on. And you don't have to apply this year. The program is likely to carry on running, I hope, forever now. We're building up a momentum, and I think it will continue for quite a long time to come. But you don't have to do it this year. You can do it in future years. No harm in applying though. See where you get to. You'll learn.
What kind of mentors are provided? What specific areas can they support you with?
You name it, we've got it. That's easy enough. Got my name there. If I haven't got the skill you need, I'll find it.
I think that's it.
Hallelujah.
Any more?
Don't ask that again, Polly. Well, what's the time? It's 10 to. Oh, we've been going on a long time. Right. Thank you so much for listening. And sorry, I haven't seen the mess that's behind me. I'm in my home. I look forward to meeting some of you at the interview process. Good luck with your applications. I think we open 5th of March, is it, Polly?
4th of March, and closes on at 5 p.m. on the 29th of March.
Don't wait till the last, whatever you do. If we've had the system crash before, so try and get your applications in as soon as you can. And good luck with everything.
There's one more question. Do you provide a certificate of credibility on completion of the programme? But you've not mentioned we offer CPD currently.
Yeah, so we do offer a certificate of incredibility, because I'm incredible. I don't have that credibility. So no is the answer to that, but we do offer CPD certificates. You sign in and you get those. We are hoping, as I say, to look at in the coming year 4, a postgraduate certificate in healthcare or clinical entrepreneurship. But it's watch this space for that. But I think you're incredible, not credible. So if it was anything, it would be an incredibility certificate. Right. Anything else, Polly?
No, that's it, I think.
Brilliant. Thank you
Let
so
me just
much.
one more check. No, that's it.
Don't do any more checks. Right. I wish you all a happy Valentine's evening, and I hope to meet you at the interviews, and really good luck with your applications. Okay. Good night, all. Thank you, Polly.
Yeah, bye.